Um, yeah, so today's seminar is about IoT for safety applications. And we have now Rutgers alumni, Priyanka and also Khushi. They have a startup company working on this, looking into this IoT for safety. This is a great application and also a very hard area. So we like them to give us the talk about their work and their project. And also, meanwhile, they would like to know more about the WINLAB resources. So we on our side, I think we have faculty and students. They like to understand more about what their company is doing. So now I think I can have Priyanka and Khushi. You can go ahead and introduce your company and also your project.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having us. My name is Priyanka, and this is Khushi. And thank you for joining. If you want to come on this side, this way I can talk to. We have some people in person and some people virtually, so we want to make sure that we're talking to everybody.
Great.
So I'll go ahead and share my screen. And really what we're looking to do is to tell you about what we're working on, the technologies involved, and how you might be able to get involved in it as well with your expertise, because it's really people with the right skills who we're looking for to work with us. So let me share. All right. All right, great. Thank you for the quick introduction. And so we are Merakhis. Merakhis actually started off as a class project by Priyanka and three other women at the Rutgers Honors College. And then myself and our third team member, Kimberly, who's not here with us today, joined about 2 years ago. The whole mission of Merakhi and how it started is because we saw a growing issue of sexual harassment on college campuses, and Merakhi's mission is to combat this through smart jewelry and education. So just to get you a little bit up to speed with the statistics and the issue at hand, about 1 in 5 women and 1 in 16 men are sexually assaulted while in college. And of those victims, about 85 to 90% of them actually know their perpetrators. So this also alludes to the fact that this is more than just stranger danger. The issue really happens by people who are trusted. And of those sexual assault victims, about 90% of them actually don't even report these assaults. So there's many cases that go unreported. Of those that are actually reported, about 99% of the perpetrators walk free. So we've seen this huge issue, and it's unfortunately a growing one. And so what Merakhi aims to do is offer the Merakhi Solution through smart jewelry. The smart jewelry has 3 technological pieces. It has GPS tracking, audio recording, and cellular connection. And beyond these IoT aspects, we also want to make sure that we also focus our attention on the hardware of the jewelry. We want to make sure that it's invincible and it's waterproof to really ensure that it's sturdy and secure. And if victims ever find themselves in any kind of physical altercations, the bracelet itself won't be damaged or easily discarded. I'll get into the technological pieces in just a little bit more, but we do want to mention that there is some competition in this field of wearables, but these wearables, these other wearables in the market currently serve different purposes. Of that competition, the top 3 competitors are Invisivare, SafeLet, and Flare. And the reason we see them as the top 3 competitors is because they are also in the wearable market trying to tackle the issue of safety. What we want for Merakhi, in order not to just make it distinct and to stand out, but to really maximize the use of our jewelry, is to make sure that one of probably the most important features is that it's not dependent on any Bluetooth system, such as the wearables in the market currently, which are all Bluetooth dependent. We are aiming to have the bracelet be connected through cellular connection. So if someone loses their phone dies, or if their phone is out of range, this won't affect the actual use of the jewelry. Another important feature is how long it takes an alert to be sent from the bracelet. We actually got to test out some of the competitor products, and we've seen that it takes about 20 seconds for the bracelet to be activated and for the pre-programmed contacts or the user's pre-programmed contacts to get the message. However, we're hoping that Meraki will actually reduce this time and make it about 5 seconds. The reason we say this is not because we've tested our product, but because we haven't built the product yet. But that's because actually it's approximately IoT devices take 5 seconds to send text messages. Along with that, we really want to emphasize another key feature of Meraki, which no other wearable in the market currently has, is audio recording. This is really important because we've done a lot of customer discovery in the past 2 years, and we've recognized the need for audio recording as both evidence when it comes to processing cases and also to help validate victims after a situation has occurred and they need this validation in order to sometimes psychologically also move on. I've already mentioned that we are really focused also on the hardware, making sure that it's sturdy as well. And just to sum all this up, because I know these are many different features, in summary, how this would work is you have the jewelry. If someone finds themselves in an unsafe or uncomfortable situation, they can activate this jewelry, and it can do two things simultaneously. It can send the location of that user to pre-programmed contacts. So that's friends or family members who have already been pre-programmed into the bracelet or the jewelry to receive this message. So those friends and family would receive the user's location and an alert saying that the user is in some sort of trouble. From that moment, the pre-programmed contacts can also track the user's location until they deactivate the jewelry. Also, when they activate the location, they would also be activating the audio recording at the same time. And then, of course, you mentioned the cellular connection, so I won't go too much into it right now. This is a quick summary of the customer discovery that I just mentioned. We really want to emphasize that when we entered this field and kind of this mission of combating sexual harassment, it was something that we saw at Rutgers, but we wanted to make sure that this is a prevalent issue and it does need attention. And so we've talked to students, we've talked to parents, we've talked to sexual assault counselors, we've talked to victims, we've even talked to investigators and police officers. So there's a broad range of people that we've talked to. We have about 90 to 100 customer interviews conducted, and these are just quick summaries of how important it has been shown that we actually address this issue by parents, by students, and what exactly customers are looking for when they want the safety device.
Absolutely. And this really just goes to show that there is a need for a safety device. When we did these customer discovery interviews, we did not say anything about what we are doing. And we asked them questions like, if you had an ideal safety device, what would you want to be included in that? What are the features that you want? And people were describing things like, I want something that will be discreet. I want something that will send an alert out to let people know that I'm unsafe. I want something that will track my location, but only when I want them to. So they were describing all of these features that we had already started to include in our product, and that really validated the fact that we're building something that people want and people want to spend money on. Parents have said that they would spend $100 or more on these types of features for their children, especially when they send them off to school. And so, including in the technology, the second big part of our company is education and outreach, which for everyone in this engineering school, I know the technology is really interesting, but just know that we recognize that technology in this case is not going to solve our mission systemically. And so we really want to focus on some education as well. And so the smart jewelry that we're creating is more than just a product. It's about creating change and a culture around it as well. And this is just some information that we got, some feedback from some of our education programs. From high school seniors who have said that they really found what we were trying to bring to them effective and interesting. And so we can also use this education platform as a way to almost as a vehicle to sell bracelets as well. And so they go really hand in hand. And then we want to be able to bring the jewelry and the education and the data that we collect from both to really put towards that systemic change. So we're very mission driven and trying to use technology for good. So data from smart jewelry, like where people are feeling the most unsafe, how often people are feeling the most unsafe. This type of stuff can go into public safety efforts or campus safety efforts. Data from education surveys or social media data can go into how do high schools teach better on these topics? How do colleges teach better on these topics? And so data is a really important piece as well. And the business model that we're looking to create around this would have to be a subscription model because of the fact that we want to incorporate the cellular connectivity for the smart jewelry. And we want to be able to sell the jewelry and the education programs and the data to those who can pay for it, and then provide subsidized devices and programs to low-income communities. And Khushi talked about how we interviewed parents and students. So there's a big distinction between who will pay and who will use. And that's important to know for anyone who's developing any type of technology that they want to bring to market. And so we recognize that parents will pay, students will use it. And so we want to be able to reach out to using the networks on college campuses through parents and students. And we want to start right here, right where we were born at Rutgers, build some prototypes, test them out, do product testing, and see how we can make it even better, and then expand across universities around the country. Of course, the use cases for a product like our smart jewelry can extend beyond just college campuses. They can extend beyond just the US. And there have been parents, grandparents even, who have said, I would love to have this as a replacement for Life Alert even, because it's more personality, more beautiful in a sense, to allow them to be able to live the way that they want without having these quote ugly devices. And this is our team. Really, we wanted to just show that I started the company 6 years ago. I have a background in public health and sustainability and business. Khushi and Kimberly have a background in medical sciences as well as biomed engineering, but we're really lacking the technical experience and expertise that we need to push this prototype forward. And so we're really looking for software and hardware engineers to help us build functional prototypes. We really see different ways that we can create patentable technology here, especially through the design, because as some of you might be thinking in your head, how the heck are we supposed to fit cellular connected pieces into something that will look like jewelry, right? Into something small enough. And so if we can create a team that can really push that forward, that in itself could be a game changer in the space of wearables, and not just for Merakhis. And so this is our Typeform link. If you are interested, we'd love to have you just check out some more information by scanning the code. Also would love to hear from you. Our email is there, hello@merakhi.co. And we're super happy to answer any questions right now, set up a call later to answer any questions and see how you might be interested in working with us, or if you have even just feedback for us or resources that we might be able to take advantage of as we move forward. Just want to point out at the bottom here, so we've been involved with very many different programs over the past years. The Rutgers I-CORPS program that was funded by the National Science Foundation. Most recently, we were part of a program that's been sponsored by Verizon and the Clinton Foundation. And so we also have a good support system with resources that we can use. But again, we need the people that can help us take advantage of those resources. So thank you so much. I will leave this up for just a few more seconds and then take anyone's questions.
Yeah, thank you for the introduction of Merakhi. I think this is a very good, also very interesting project, and it's also a timely project. Could have many applications and usage in quite a few different areas. So could you like elaborate more about like who's going to use it and who's going to pay for it? I think that is something very interesting and also different, differentiate this project from the other products.
Yeah, absolutely. So we mentioned this a little bit before. We're starting with college students, mostly because it was born by college students and we started it here. We've done all the research here, but we also found that there's a need for it, right? We've interviewed, I think, over 50 different parents of college students, and we learned that parents are the ones who are buying safety devices for their children when they go to school. Pepper spray, alarms, other types of things that they want to make sure that their children are equipped with. And so we learned that this is a specific point in someone's life where they are starting to be introduced to safety devices. And through these interviews, we learned that the parents are mostly the ones that will pay for it. And then the end users would be the students.
Yeah, this is very good. Yeah, very good clarification. So at what stage this project is currently at right now?
So right now we are still working to build a prototype. So we still need to build our first prototype. I said I've been working on this for 6 years, but it's been a lot of research, a lot of interviews, a lot of refining the idea, and working on the education side. So we've already started doing education, but it's really time for us to ramp up the technology and get some prototypes made, because we have people who want to give us money, they want to give us more, but they want a prototype in order to do that. And so we are almost at the very beginning in terms of technology, but we have a lot of information that can feed into building it.
Okay, that's very good. So so you're building so for the prototyping that you're planning to develop, like who's going to do those development? Like you have like designer and also in the I think the product hardware appearance and also the software side, the development. Who are these people going to work in your company or have already been working in your company right now?
So we are looking for these people, and that's why we're here, really, is to say that we need a team that can build this sort of product. And so we'll need people who can work on the mechanics of it, but also people who have experience or expertise and interest in hardware design, right? There are a lot of components that come into innovating in the sense of creating the shape and the size necessary for technology like this. And so we imagine having a team with different experiences, different engineering backgrounds that can collaborate in order to actually make this happen. And so we're reaching out to WINLAB, we're reaching out to any other groups that we can find who have the expertise that we are looking for.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, so I have one more question. So based on the expertise you have on your team, so could you tell me like what expertise you already have in your team?
Yeah, absolutely. So my background is in public health and sustainability and business. So I have a lot of the background on the mission, on the research, on the actual running the business and entrepreneurship side. Khushi and our other teammate Kimberly have also a similar background in entrepreneurship, and they have a little bit more background in education and marketing and social media as well.
I see. Sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah. So I'd like to ask the attendees, like, do they have any questions?
Yes, I do.
We have a question in person.
Okay.
So, thank you for a nice talk. So it's very interesting. Definitely ever buy one.
Thank you.
Yeah. So this addresses the safety concerns for the kids, teenagers, right? So I have a question. So do you plan that your product can be works on the environment, different environment? For example, in this room, we may not have the GPS signal. We may not have the strength signals. So how do we handle this?
That's a really good point. And so obviously there's going to be evolutions of these types of technologies that we'll be able to implement over time to make the accuracy of the location and the strength of the signals a little bit better. And so those we can move as fast as those technologies develop. I mentioned before that we work with Verizon, or we have been mentored by Verizon over the summer. They have some technologies that they're also working on that they've told us about, which we can't really share right now, but that are meant to solve some of those issues. Yeah.
Okay, so I have a couple of questions, right? So the first one is, do you have
So we don't know exactly how much this is going to cost. That comes a lot.
Probably you can repeat the question. Somehow we didn't catch Ivan's question.
Sorry. So the question was, do we have a price or a cost involved, or that we know of, for the subscription and the cost of the device? So we don't necessarily know yet the cost of how much it's going to be to make this device. And so that is a little bit difficult, but we know that, for example, there's a product out there called a Gizmo, which is made by Verizon. It's a watch, an IoT watch for children to be able to contact their parents. And it's has more features than we would want to incorporate in ours. And that price point for the one device is about $120, I believe. And then every month, I think it was about $10 for the subscription for the service. And so we imagine that ours would also be relatively around that same price point. But we would love to figure out how we bring it down. Obviously, we have the model where we price it a little bit higher for those who can pay for it so that we can bring it down for those who can't. And so we would have to play around with that as well.
I just wanted to add, I think we've also kind of talked a little bit about working with the different features, because we have different features in the bracelet, maybe producing different versions that maybe have one or two less features, so they the most main valuable features of the bracelet are in there. It could be priced a little bit differently than another version of a bracelet that has everything included.
So then the second question. The second question is actually, would you be willing to consider a model by which somebody creates what's called a safe space, right? Where this, in other words, augments the space with things that will make features of your safety device much more applicable, right? In other words, one could think about deploying devices in this building to make sure that if anybody activates things, that you can localize them very quickly. And that actually applies to dorms probably the most.
Yeah, actually, that's a really interesting point that you brought up. So this is not relevant to college students, but I actually presented Merakhis to a class of hospitality students at an international school. And what they said was this would be fantastic for hotels, for the staff at hotels who actually also face a lot of harassment and abuse or harassment by guests or whoever, and having a really localized thing so that at work they can feel a little more safe, they can feel that they can get the help that they need a little bit faster than the systems that they already have in place.
Well, but in the question, there is that actually implicit hint to changing the system design a little bit, because if you put stuff in the environment, then you can reduce the stuff. So
that's true.
The only problem is, of course, the coverage becomes an issue, right? So you can have it for a particular campus, but it won't work on another campus. So there are pros and cons to both, right? So
yeah, absolutely.
Can there be a middle ground, right, where you have features and capabilities with augmented spaces versus something that works out everywhere?
Yeah. And for those online, if you couldn't hear, there was just a little bit of a discussion on how do we find a middle ground between having an augmented space as well as something that can receive coverage throughout and not just in one localized space, which is definitely something to think about. Yeah, for sure.
And, you know, like that commercial safe space or whatever they call it, right? It's going on right now where they claim how the space is cleaned up regularly and whatever. Right?
Yes.
Times, you could argue that, you know, people could advertise the safe spaces where they can facilitate devices like this or
right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You can sort of say, oh, USA Today campus college ranking is based also on availability of safe space.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Great.
Any more questions?
Maybe I can ask the next question. Yes, that's a very interesting idea to develop devices to prevent harassment. And one question is that possible we can deploy such a system or service on the current device, for example, smartwatches and also smartphones, so that we can reduce the cost of the hardware, because many people already have these devices. Well, you can still have services that deploy on these devices and also charge through services. So is that more feasible, and what is the difference with using a dedicated hardware to achieve this purpose?
Take that one? Yeah, sure. So we've actually talked a little bit about developing maybe just an app for people who already have smartwatches.
Yes.
So that's definitely crossed our minds, because that would ease up on the creating the actual hardware and everything. And that is definitely an avenue I think that we wouldn't mind kind of looking into. But after all our customer discovery and really talking to students, we also want to make sure that we're going to be able to have the bracelet or our product, whatever it ends up being, accessible to as many people. And so we do want to take into consideration that maybe not everyone can afford a smartwatch or already have a smartwatch. So the mind that like that idea has definitely run through our head, and that's something we still want to we don't want to put it away. We're still working on seeing if that's a possibility. But for those who don't perhaps have smartwatches or don't already have devices that can actually use an app, we want to make sure that they aren't kind of left out of the picture, especially given students who might not be able to afford perhaps these really expensive like Apple watches, might be more able to afford a bracelet instead. And we're hoping that it's more customizable so students want to wear it every day, because we also want to make sure that we create something that people will wear every single day, whether they're going out or they're at home or something like that.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so I have a question. So how
Sorry.
do you
Yeah.
for
An
your
in-person question.
the service? So for example, if you will design like a button and once you push it, it will send a message to your the contact that was saved on the devices, then that's okay. But like if you touch it accidentally, then your friends will receive the message like, you know, they will be worrying about you, but like it was just an accident. So how are you gonna design the way to trigger this function without sending the error message? Do you have any idea?
Like this. So we have also looked at just where, even though this may seem minuscule, but that's also definitely a concern. We don't want to trigger the bracelet by accident, or if someone does. So as I mentioned earlier, we're hoping that once the bracelet is activated and someone gets an alert or notification, there will also be a system for them to deactivate once they're in a safer situation. So that's part of the system as well, that it's not only going to be activated, there will also be the option to turn off the activation if they press it accidentally. And also this goes back to the hardware and the importance of that as well. From the other products we've also seen, we also want to make sure that we place the button maybe closer on the side and in a position where it's not going to be easily pressed by accident. So, and taking into like considerations, it could be more towards the inside of someone and on the side. So it's not going to be easily accessible, and just if they like bump their hand somewhere, it won't automatically be pressed. If that answers your question a little bit.
Yeah, and I just want to add also, in order to activate it, it's not just press a button and your alert is sent. It's okay if you want to send, and we didn't go through this before, but if you're feeling uncomfortable and you just want to send the notification to your pre-programmed contacts, letting them know that you need them to pay attention to where you are, get to you, whatever it is, then you rapidly press the button for a couple of seconds, right? So it's not just one tap and then it sends it out. You would have to rapidly press it for a couple of seconds. If you want to also include the emergency services, if it's a really, really dangerous situation and you want the police to also be contacted, you would hold the button for X amount of seconds. So it's on top of the fact of the placement of it, it's a matter of how you're pressing the button as well.
Okay, I see. You know what? Like during the presentation, I was actually thinking, like you can integrate this function with the existing system on campus. For example, at Rutgers, in old campus, there will be a small boxes either on the street light or the bus station. You can just push the button and then it will, I don't know, maybe have the light or the noise, and then the police will come to the location to see what happened. So if you can integrate your function with the university's function, then it's actually gonna have a quicker response time for the local police or guardians come to guarantee your safety, you know. But that's just my thinking. That's not the question. And I just want to share with you.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Yeah, because we have many facilities in Rutgers and also in some other neighborhoods. So there's a timely we can get a timely response if we can utilize all this IoT, maybe smart facilities to a quicker response. That's a good point.
Absolutely. And it's not something that we have figured out, especially because we don't know technologically how that integration could happen. And we're always open to ideas like that, right? One thing that you made me think of is, yeah, on college campuses, we have things like those boxes, the blue lights, right? And what's interesting is that we talk to parents and we say, how safe do you feel about your children going to their campus? And everybody talks about the blue lights. But if you think about the blue lights, they're not where people probably need it the most.
Mhm.
And if you click on a button that's on a street in the middle of the night, who knows if anybody's around there? If someone's feeling unsafe, are they just going to sit there and wait for someone to come after 2 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it is, right? So we kind of think about this jewelry as the next generation blue lights, because your GPS location is broadcasted, so it's following you wherever you go, and it's accessible wherever you are. And so, yeah, but finding a way to integrate the two, I think, would be very powerful.
And also, you meant that because
Right.
what you meant is like the blue light is also connected to Rutgers Police Department, so we can even use that connectivity system into Meraki. That would be really interesting too. So the local police have a way of being notified. And I think we've also talked a little bit to police officers about how they handle these kind of responses and cases. And so I think that also brings in the whole idea of working with different departments once we have the technology and the connections to kind of put it together.
Okay. Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I also have some concerns on the, if you want to promote such a device, such a product, you need to make a comprehensive survey on whether people would like to wear it. Because for me, take myself as an example, I never wear wearable devices because it is uncomfortable. And for other kinds of wearable devices like smartwatches, like Apple Watch and some similar products like wristbands, it have some useful functions, like they can record your vital signs such as heartbeat rate, record your sports status, and check your messages. But for this smart jewelry, if it can only localize yourself and report assault, these functions, I think it is hard to compare this kind of device with state-of-the-art smartest wearable devices. So it's not for technical skills, but if you want to, I think the major concern is that if you want to promote such products, you need to make a comprehensive survey on comparison with the current products and check whether people would like to wear it. I think this is my major concern for this product.
Absolutely, and you're right to be concerned about that, right? I mean, I think whenever anybody is trying to market or bring to market any sort of product, doing that research is the important part. And so through our 2 summers of customer discovery, that's the beginning of it. And that was even better in the sense that we weren't saying, hey, this is what we're doing, will you wear it? It's more of, what are your problems? What would solve your problems? And people were saying exactly what we're doing without us even telling them. And so that's really what makes us believe that we're not just saying that people will wear it, but people are telling us that they want this and that they will wear it before we even tell them that we have it. But yes, absolutely, continued research and market research on it is always happening. And once we have prototypes as well, product research with prototypes is important as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. Yeah, I think
That's a
the
good point.
customer
Yeah.
base, as Tianfeng talked about, the customer base and the customer interest actually are very important, right? And also, if there's a possibility to integrate this with any of the existing wearable device, that is also could be more attractive to not just female students, women, and also I think to men also. You can expand your customer base, right? And also, as Kelon mentioned, that if it's possible, we have this integrated system, right, set up together with usually the university's alarming system. I think that would also be something that could be very helpful to the students.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and of course you have a larger base, right? Not just the students, but also to the female consumers, right? In that sense, yeah. Even I think this day is extended to many male consumers as well.
Yeah, and we plan to have a wide range of designs. We don't want to just create bracelets that are very feminine in style, but we want to create other things that different personalities will want to wear. But yeah, different ages, different. I've had some moms, when we talk to them, tell us that after we go through the interview and we tell them what we're doing, they're like, "Can I buy this in 24 karat gold?" Like people get super excited about this, and so it's really just a matter of making it happen now.
Yes. And I also have other thinkings. Instead of attaching some devices, following Tianfeng's question, maybe is that possible that maybe the device can be attached to some school bags? For example, because when the students when outside, they will wear school bags. Female, they will wear bags. In this case, we will avoid attaching some device to introduce inconvenience to the user. I'm not sure if that is a good way.
I think that's actually a great thing. And as Priyanka mentioned, I think our main thing is building the technology, and we really want to make sure that we don't fixate on just like making a bracelet. And that's a great point. Eventually, once we have the actual the technology part, it'd be a great idea to expand and make it into keychains or something that people can hook onto their bags. So we provide different options for different people and what works for everyone. So that's actually a great idea, and that's definitely something that we hope to make and as we move forward beyond just a bracelet or just jewelry.
Sounds great.
Sounds great.
Yeah. Do we have any other questions?
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have an idea. I have an idea about improve the indoor localization. Because I have a concern in the very large market, right? So I think the indoor localization is very important. I just want to give a solution about the indoor localization, because last year the Google Google provide a product called the AirTag, and for the indoor environment they use the Bluetooth. They use the Apple Find My network to build a Find My network, and then in the indoor environment they use the Bluetooth to communicate with the AirTag. So if you build this product, you can consider build your own network for the indoor localization. Yeah, that's my suggestion.
Yeah, thank you for that. I'm writing it down right now.
So there are a number of indoor localization things.
Okay.
Yeah, for indoor localization.
Okay.
And one is coming on Wednesday in this building.
Oh,
really?
Okay, great. Thank you for that.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah. So yeah, it's great that you come to WINLAB today. So I think Yvonne is also there. He's there every day.
Yeah,
I hope Yvonne can give you a tour of WINLAB's facility. Yeah, the orbit test bed, and also some of the new things that we're developing and deploying in New York City for the Cosmos project. Yeah, Yvonne has a very has very nice demonstrations that he can show you. So I think it will be good that you utilize this opportunity to get familiar with WINLAB and also know more about WINLAB's resources.
Yeah, we'll love that. Thank you.
We'll show them around.
Okay. I think we have very good suggestions, and also I think this is a very exciting product. There are many things that both research and development, I think students can explore. So we can discuss more along this line.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us, and thank you all for joining. I'm glad that we were able to share it with you, and like I said, we're open to anything if you want to reach out, even if you think of another suggestion or have another question, feel free to email.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for the
Thank you.
presentation.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Mhm.